Your woman tells you that she doesn't trust you. In fact, this doesn't make any sense to you. As a man, you're like, how am I untrustworthy? I'm here, I show up, I do the things that I'm supposed to be doing, I do the things that she asked me to do, yet she doesn't trust me. And I don't really understand why she doesn't trust me, so you try to ask her, and she says, I don't want to tell you what's going on with me. Maybe she gives you the cold shoulder, maybe she blows you off, maybe she just says whatever and walks in the other room. And you say, well, why do you do that? She's like, I don't trust you. And so to you as a man, this is incredibly confusing. So in this video, we're going to talk about the 3 reasons that she doesn't trust you and how to turn that trust around so that she can open up to you, be free with you, be playful, be joyous, dance around. My name is Baxter, and I help guys in betrayal situations. The process of being with a woman for 50 years or a woman that you're dating is pretty much the same. For us, it's just science. Because we know the patterns, we know the solutions. It's not that complicated. You have to make a commitment for yourself. That's what it means to be in Soul Seducer program. That's what it means to work with me directly. So that you can learn to handle your emotions, so you can learn to see right into a woman's soul and seduce her from within, to create this garden that she can actually thrive in. We'll get you to that place where you make the right decision for you and your chick. So trust with her can be really said in 3 ways: follow through, ownership, and emotional stability. And so for most guys, they don't really understand what this means. And so what will happen is that something will happen in the house. Maybe he made a mistake or something, and she comes to him, and what he does, he goes and he gets defensive. He tries to say all the reasons why he made the decision that he made. And what she wants to see is that, is he going to follow through when I bring something up? Can I trust him to be the guy who's going to do what he says he's going to do? Can I trust him to be the guy who actually shows up the way that he's putting off that he wants to show up? So this happens with guys too. So for instance, if I'm here in the studio and I say, hey man, the camera's not set up properly, and the guy says, well, I put it over here for this reason. I thought maybe we'd do this and do this. I was like, yeah, I don't care about that. I want the camera set up this way. Yeah, but I really think it's like, no, you're not hearing what I say. Set the camera up this way. But I don't know, is it really? So see, this gets frustrating and annoying. This is what's happening with her. And so she won't be able to necessarily say it as directly as I can say it to you here, but this is the energy that she's feeling. And so she's going to get really frustrated. This is why you'll feel her escalated. This is why it'll turn to an argument. This is why she'll start to bring up the past, because the past at this point is her, it's like indicative or it's analogous of this situation now. So if she's like, hey, why did you take out the trash? What she's really saying is, hey, take out the trash. I expect that it to be done. This is what you committed to do, and please follow through on your commitments. And you're saying, well, I was busy, I was getting late for work, and you're trying to do this stuff. So you're asking her to give you a pass, as if she's the one who runs your life, as if she's the one who runs the show. And you hear women talk about this all the time. I want to be in the position where I don't have to ask him to do the things. What she's really saying is, I don't want to be the leader of this situation. I want you to understand what's happening in this house as much as I do, and just take charge, take the initiative, and make shit happen. You're the man here, go lead the family. Create some structure around this. Be the one who's in charge of how we operate here. You're like, well, I don't have time to do this as well. She's got the house, I've got my work. And so the thing is, you don't have to necessarily take over everything, but she needs to feel that you're involved in such a manner that she feels that you are involved. Like you can see what's happening with her, you can see what's happening with the family. This is what she wants to do. She wants to feel seen and heard and understood. And when you're not there, you're abdicating that responsibility, you're letting her lead in this situation, then she's not seeing this follow through with you. She's not going to feel that you are actually involved as she would like you to be. She feels like, well, she feels isolated and alone. And so she'll be a reflection of you in this way. If you're not showing up the way that you're putting off that you can show up, she's going to call you out on that. She's going to say that, hey, you're not showing up the way that you say you are. And so what guys will normally do is they'll try to deflect. Well, I'll get to it later, or hey, I just did it because of these reasons. And she's like, okay, well, you're not addressing the original thing. Is I'm telling you that something happened, and you're just talking about all these other things. You're not actually addressing the concern. He tries to just like scapegoat the situation, or maybe he'll deflect completely or make some sort of excuse. And so that second part is ownership. She's not seeing that ownership with you. She's not seeing that you're actually owning something. So in other words, she brings something up to you and you deflect. Well, I'll get to it later. I'll just do it. She's like, there's no ownership here. There's no ownership of the faults or the flaws or whatever she sees. Now, that doesn't not necessarily mean that she's right, but at the same time, she needs to feel this ownership. So in other words, if my wife comes to me and she says, hey, you're kind of crass with the kids there. You probably should tone down your language. I'm going to say, well, it's just not a big deal. It's just a joke, whatever. I'm not really seeing what she's trying to say. A better way to approach it would be, okay, tell me more about that. How is it doing? Okay. And how are you seeing this is happening? All right, cool. And then I'll go back and say, is there truth to what she's saying? Is there some rightness to it? I'm going to take my ego out of it and say, okay, well, Okay, I can tone that down a little bit, no problem. I can see where it is. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for showing me. I'll change that moving forward. This doesn't mean I'm abdicating leadership. This doesn't mean that she's controlling me. What she's doing is she's highlighting something within me that is happening, thing or behavior, whatever. She's like, hey, I would like it to be a little bit different with the kids. So we have a discussion about this, talk about it. I don't lose my power. I don't say, yes, dear, I'm so sorry. Oh, gosh, I fucked it up, sorry. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, okay, let's see what it is. Let's be logical about this. Let's see if this is actually a thing. If it is a thing, then I'm not going to hold ego to it. I'm going to do what's required. I'm going to follow through. And that means the third part here is being calm. Most guys are untrustworthy because they can't be calm. They're up and down with their emotional state constantly because they ignore their emotional state. I'm not saying you should be this guy who's crying all the time. No, you should get a hold of yourself. Yes, you can acknowledge pain. Yes, you can acknowledge anger. Yes, you can acknowledge frustration. You should process that shit healthily. But at the same time, so many guys are just like, baby, I feel this way, and I feel like this. It's like your wife doesn't really give a shit about how you feel. Most of the time, she'll say, hey, tell me how you're feeling. And really what she wants to know is like, how are you working? What's going on within you? She wants to figure you out and how you work and operate on a deep level. This doesn't mean she wants you to be this emotional tampon in front of her that she has to now pick up and try to lift up and make you feel better as a good little boy. She's not trying to do that at all. She's like saying, hey, what's going on with you? Express to me what's happening. You'd be like, yeah, I'm upset, I'm frustrated, and this is what I'm going to do with it. So again, I take ownership. And so in this game of emotional resiliency is absolutely paramount. Your wife needs to see that you're calm, cool, centered, and collected. She needs to see that, hey, she can have a storm, she can have a blow up or whatever, and you're still there. You still got her. Now at the same time, you create the container of this. There are some limits to what this storm is allowed to do. You can't belittle, you can't guilt, shame, name call, can't threaten. You can't do this abusive stuff, so we're going to create the container for what the storm can reside in. And you're not going to get caught up in it. When you get caught up in the storm, she can't trust you. It's like, oh no, if I get upset, he's going to spin the fuck out. If I get upset, then he gets upset. And then she gets more upset, and then you get in this huge back and forth argument. And so for a guy, if you want to have this game of trust, she needs to see that you're going to stay calm, cool, collected, centered, grounded, and be in that pocket of presence, like where you can see what's happening with her, feel what's happening with her, but not be of it. Not be this guy who's just reacting to it. Most guys just react to their wives. Oh shit, my wife's angry. Oh no, what do I do? Everybody batten down hatches. Like, that's not how it works. When you do that, she's like, oh, I can't come home and be upset and angry because everybody freaks the fuck out. So now I have to hold myself down. I can't actually express myself fully emotionally. Now, with that being said, some women go absolutely bonkers with this. And they say, well, if you can't live me at my worst, you can't live me at my best. It's like that just means you're just abdicating all emotional responsibility for yourself. You're just throwing that out onto everybody in your family. And you're doing that because you don't have the container of a guy who doesn't put up with that shit. And so you just allow yourself to do this. You just allow yourself to throw yourself all over everybody. And that's not right. It's not cool, and it is unhealthy. And so in this situation, if you're the guy, you have to set the container for this. Now, for some of you guys, you're in a relationship that's been going on for years. You're like, well, how do I set the container for this? My wife is an unhinged maniac. She'll scream and holler and yell at us and throw stuff. And it's like, well, you created this, and so it's going to take a bit for you to either reconcile that, or you may find that you're with the wrong woman. You may find that she is just completely locked into this frame, and she just has no chance of turning this around. And in this case, your only option at this point is to leave. Or you have to put your tail between your legs and just deal with it for the rest of your life. And so you have to make that choice. Which one do you want? And so one key thing to realize here is if you want your wife to trust you, you don't win your wife back by apologizing. You win it back by taking ownership, having follow through, and being consistently calm in your own emotional state. If you're this way 90% of the time, you don't have to be this way all the time, but if you're this way consistently most of the time, you're going to find that trust in you starts to open up quite a bit. You'll find that she starts to emote more to you. She starts to tell you more about what's going on within her. She starts to open up to you more. She starts to tell you what's happening. And in this place, she'll start to flourish, and she'll be more happy. She'll start dancing more. She'll start looking at you with appreciative eyes. She'll be more devoted to you. She'll want you more sexually because she feels more open and connected to you because you are in this space where you can receive it. So here's a few tactics. One, stop defending yourself. Just start proving that you are operating at a different place. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to correct the record. Most guys try to correct the record. His wife says something, and he gets defensive, and it just spins everything out of control. You don't need to get in that conversation at all. In fact, I encourage you not to ever get in that conversation. You should just do some searching, like, okay, let's get some information gathering. What's happening here? Okay, and this is how I need to operate differently. Or maybe she's wrong, and I'm going to operate differently because she's wrong. And then I'm just going to go do some shit. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to be and operate in a different manner. Take extreme ownership in this. The second point is you need to set a higher emotional standard for yourself. In other words, you're going to get yourself calm, more certain, more in control. You can't be this guy who's getting upset all the time and angry and frustrated all the time. And yeah, this may be there, and you may try to block those emotions out and try to hide them, like most guys do in a very repressed state. And so you don't want to be this guy who is falling prey to either one of these things, where he's just completely unhinged with his emotions or he's completely trying to ignore them. You want to be this guy who has integrated them fully. And then from this place, you then are not going to be as reactive to her, because she doesn't have all these handles. She doesn't have all these triggers on you that she can pull and employ, which then spin you out of control. Now you are a grounded, calm, and collected guy. Now she can trust that you're going to stay centered no matter what kind of storm that she throws at you. And so when you're showing up for a collision with her, you got to show up with certainty, not confusion. Don't be asking her to lead. Don't say, baby, what do I need to do? Tell me what I got to do, and I'll do whatever you want. She doesn't want that. She wants a guy who's certain in who he is and certain about where he's going. He has to be the guy who's holding the standard for himself, and then lifting up his family to also encourage them to hold the standard too. And all ships rise with the tide. And then the last one is just do. Just walk the talk. Stop talking about the talk and just walk it. Just walk it and stop asking for approval. Hey, baby, I did this. Do you see? Is it good? Am I a good boy? Do you approve of what I said? No. You just learn to operate in a different way, in a different frequency, and you just go. You just go, and you stop asking for fucking permission all the time. Guys are always asking for permission to rise up into their power. You don't need my permission. You don't need your wife's permission. You don't even need God's permission. You just need to rise up in your power. And trust me, God has already given you the permission. So just rise up into your power and then start leading by doing first. And you will be surprised at how much your wife just naturally falls in line with this. And then after a couple of weeks of this, she's like, thank you so much. Thank you so much for just taking control. Thank you so much for being there for me, or whatever it happens to be. Because this is what she wanted all along, but she doesn't know how to articulate or teach you how to do it, because, well, it's not her job to do it. Other men are there to do this for you, show you how to do this. That's what this video is for. And so when you're doing this, you're going to find out that most of your relationship problems start to diminish greatly, because she feels seen, heard, and understood, and she's in this place where she can fully trust you. And when she's in this place, and her storms are contained properly, you'll find that she settles down dramatically, and all her crazy starts to diminish. And as guys, that's what we all want. We want a place where we have peace at home, harmony, devotion, appreciation, and we want to feel her sexual desire all the time. And so if you want to have that, this is a key component to doing it. Brother, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want other men to see it on their feed, hit the like button. If you want to see more, obviously hit subscribe. If you want to learn more about the Soul Seducer program, where we go into in-depth on how to do this specifically, this is just one caveat on how to become a soul seducer. You can reach right into her fucking soul and seduce her within and have this peace and harmony in your home. If you want to learn more about that, if you're going through betrayal, your wife wants to leave you, this program is for you. Check it out in the description below, brother, and I love you, and I'll see you in the next video.